So it's the first fixture in week 10, and it's the Friday night fixture at St Mary's. St Mary's was very wet, a lot of rain around, and the spectators not looking too enthusiastic. But Southampton looking for their first home win of the season. They still didn't have that Ginepri. Leicester, full strength side, virtually unchanged. Into the action then, and it only took 10 minutes before the first goal arrived. Some neat interplay between Ndidi and Chilwell set up Barnes on the left, and his shot was parried, and Chilwell, following up quickly, hit the ball through the keeper, and it was 1-0. Leading up to the attack, there'd been a challenge by Bertrand, which led to losing possession, and VAR had a look at it, and he ended up getting a red. So Southampton were down to 10, and this was significant, to say the least, for what was going to happen here. An amazing sort of collection of goals were going to arrive. Let's go through them. On 17 minutes, neat work by Barnes again down the left. He got it. He got a nice pass in. It was deflected to Tielemans, who was unmarked in the penalty area, and his cool finish hit the back of the net, and Leicester were 2 up. A minute and a half later, some nice linking play again with Pereira down the right, and Ndidi set up Perez, and from the wall pass, and he added the third from a neat shot. 3-0, only 19 minutes gone. Things were to get worse. On 31 minutes, on 31 minutes there was a half chance for Holberg, but Schmeichel dealt with it comfortably. But on 38 minutes, things went from bad to worse for Southampton. A delightful Chilwell looping cross to the back post. Perez coming in. He hit it on the half volley from a tight angle into the roof of the net, and Leicester were 4 up. Jamie Vardy had hardly got a sniff, but he decided it was his turn to get in on the act, and a minute before the break he collected the ball in the box. Some neat footwork created a yard of space, and the next second it was in the back of the net. This followed again good work from Chilwell, which had got a sort of helping hand from a defender's head. So, at the break, an amazing scoreline. Southampton 0, Leicester 5. Into the second half, and the rain still drizzling down, and things got worse. Even more worse. 56 minutes. Barnes, neat dink across. A neat dinked cross over defenders, and Pereira's controlled it on his chest, and then he hit it with his left foot into the net. Number 7 arrived a minute later, and this was dreadful defending. Mind you, the other 6 had been poor. Vardy was just about 4 yards out, completely unmarked from a cross, and of course he headed it firmly into the net. So it was now 7-0. 84 minutes, probably the best of the crop. A nice free kick from Maddison, typical of the man really. He loves to float it over the wall, and he did this, and it went wide of the keeper into the corner, and it was 8-0. Now, bearing in mind that we'd already had a hat-trick from Perez, we went then to 92 minutes. Vardy was put through, he was bundled over, obvious penalty, and Jamie Vardy stepped up and scored his hat-trick, and that led us to the final whistle of Southampton 0, Leicester 9. I'll repeat that. Southampton 0, Leicester 9. Well, Leicester, they were euphoric. But Southampton, well, this is serious problems now for Hasenhüttl. So there we are. That's the first match out of the way. So it's Saturday's fixtures. Early kick-off then at Manchester City, the Etihad against Villa. As usual after Champions League, Guardiola spun a few changes. Jesus was in for Aguero. The two Silvers started, and Mendy, second game in a week. And for Villa, well, they've struggled at Manchester City. Haven't won here since 2007, and it was the 50th match in charge for Dean Smith. Into the action then, 5 minutes an early chance for Jesus. He missed a golden chance really from a few yards out after good work from both of the Silvers. There was another cross from Sterling that caused a bit of panic, and in fact soon Villa were on the back foot. They did have a couple of breaks. Grealish was the architect, but the final ball was poor. After 15 minutes I found the match a bit disappointing really, and then Sterling had a shot that was blocked. A little later Stones gave the ball away, which enabled McGinn to test Edison, and a follow-up from Luis ended him with him on the floor, but the VAR ruled no penalty. Half an hour gone goalless. Villa quite happy. City getting quite frustrated. A few minutes later, Villa again had a couple of shots that were easily blocked, but again no problems for either goalkeeper really. Gundogan was running the show. He set up Sterling, but his effort was again well wide, and they just weren't producing up front. And then finally, a couple of minutes before half time, another gilt-edged chance. This time Sterling got to the byline, pushed it across for David Silva, who really should have scored, but his effort went just wide. So that was the break, goalless. Second half then, and Guardiola must have read the riot act, because we'd hardly had half a minute and City opened the scoring. Some really fluid passing, and Sterling just too quick, latching onto a headed flick from Jesus, who somehow managed to out-jump Mings, which was a tall order really, and that followed a whack downfield from the goalkeeper Edison. Anyway, Sterling's finish was really polished, beat Heaton at the near post, so that was 1-0 for City. Pass after pass from City, now they were really dominating. Mendy had a neat touch, flicked the ball over a defender, and he lashed the ball goalwards, but it deflected to Way. A couple of minutes later, 54, a Jesus shot was blocked amazingly by Mings, who managed to get the ball over after a dreadful back pass. 56 minutes, a rather unnecessary block by Fernandinho led to a yellow card, but nothing came of it for Villa. 65 minutes constant pressure really from the home side, and De Bruyne swung in a cross from the left. It went through stacks of players. Wasn't quite sure whether anybody got a touch, but it whizzed past Heaton. VAR had a look at it, and they couldn't see any foul play or anyone offside, and the goal was credited to De Bruyne. So 2-0 City. And then a matter of 3 minutes later, another series of passes threatening the goal. Clearances by the defence went straight to Gundogan on the edge of the box, and he coolly struck the ball through a cloud of players, and that was 3-0 to City. 87 minutes, Fernandinho committed another foul, and he was off. 2 yellows make a red. All unnecessary really, because they were coasting 3-0. In the last couple of minutes, there was a half chance for Jesus. He hit the bar after another calamity defensively, and McGinn hit a post for the visitors. But anyway, it ended 3-0 to City. Villa, very poor second half after encouragement in the first. City, well, I thought they were flat really, but they won 3-0. So to the Amex then, Brighton against Everton. Team news, Mina not available for Everton. I guess his international duty in Colombia may have affected that. Sigurdsson still on the bench, as was Calvert-Lewin. Fast start to the game, but no real pattern to it. No work for either keeper up to 7 minutes, and it was pretty scrappy. Then on 13, a chance for Brighton. Free kick following a trip on Connolly just outside the box. And Everton have been very suspect to set pieces. They let in 6 already this season. Gross hit a great strike, and it fizzed past Pickford. But on closer look, the keeper was at fault for rather poor positioning. He didn't cover the goal to his left, but it was 1-0 to Brighton. They didn't hold out the lead for very long. 5 minutes later, corner for the Toffees on the left. The ball hooked into the box. Richarlison running to the front post seemed to head the ball in, but it was actually given to Webster own goal, who basically went in off him from Richarlison's header. So that was 1-1. After that, the quality of the game was poor. Walcott missed a chance when he had time, but he was too slow and the keeper blocked his effort. Bernard got injured and had to be replaced by Sigurdsson. And then late towards the half-time whistle, Iwobi had a shot which ricocheted towards goal, but a smart stop by Ryan kept the ball out. There was some half chances, but that was about it. Got to the break then, and honours even, 1-1. Second half action then at the Amex, and first chance came to Iwobi. He had a shot, but it was straight at Ryan, no problems. There was a lot of bluster and running around, but not a lot of creativity. But we got to 74 minutes. Calvert-Lewin had come on, and he managed to get onto a cross, and his effort went across the keeper and into the right corner, and it was a pretty sumptuous assist for the goal as well. But it put the Toffees in front by 2-1, but they didn't hold on to that lead for very long, because 4 minutes later, a somewhat innocuous challenge by Keane, standing on Connolly's heel, went to VAR, and the referee, who had initially done nothing, was advised to award a penalty for the Seagulls, which he duly did, and Mopé converted. So that was 2-2. In for a stirring finish then, and on 86 minutes, Holgate heavy challenge on Mopé, just outside the box, and Dunk's effort was batted away by Pickford. But the Brighton Seagulls, they have a habit of going right to the end, and we were into the 4th minute of stoppage time when Tosser got free on the left. His cross caused loads of confusion, and it managed to strike Dina on his shin and went in the net, and Pickford was completely shocked at that, but Brighton had delivered a win, the second successive win for them at home, took the game by 3-2. But my summary was that really, although there was quite a bit of excitement towards the end of the second half, it was generally a pretty poor game. So to Turf Moor then, Burnley at home to Chelsea. Team news, Chelsea had Kovacic and Pulisic, the Americans, starting, and that proved a very shrewd move for Lampard, as you will hear shortly. For Burnley, Barnes was back, but his partner Wood, unfortunately, was now sidelined with an injury, but Rodriguez continued to deputise. Early action, not too significant really, but on 21 minutes, Loughton lost the ball and Pulisic got hold of it. He evaded a defender, created a little bit of space on the left side of the penalty area, and he slotted it convincingly across Pope and into the corner. That was his first goal for the Blues. Kepa then up the other end saved from Peters after his shot was deflected. Another effort from Pulisic shortly after that, after a great ball cross-field by Willian, but this time Pope got a hand to it and it went wide. A little bit later, a golden opportunity for Barnes following a cross, but he managed to miss the target from a yard out. Only he will know how he missed. And just before half time, Pulisic got his second. He picked up the ball inside, just inside Burnley's half, and he ran hell for leather to the penalty box, weaving around, and no defender got on him, and then he clipped the ball and it hit me and was deflected past Pope for 2-0. So that was the half-time score then. Burnley 2-0 down. Chelsea, good value. So into the second half then, and 56 minutes, Pulisic headed in from a corner to complete his hat-trick. What a debut for him. This is his first full game. And 2 minutes later, Willian marauding into the penalty area, and his shot, he hit across Pope, and it landed in the net, and they were 4-0 up. 76 minutes, Hudson-Odoi, on as a sub, managed to work a move with Mount, and then he sort of went for into the box, slight touch from a defender, he fell over, and the next minute VAR were on it, but the penalty was denied and Odoi was booked for diving. 86 minutes, a breakaway from Burnley. They were still fighting, and Rodriguez, 30 yards out, bent the ball into the corner. It was a wicked shot, dipped quite a bit, and so Burnley had pulled it back to 4-1. And then a minute from time, McNeil got a second shot from just outside the box that was deflected off Tomori, and they'd made the score look respectable. Final score though, Chelsea 4, Burnley 2, and Chelsea are looking better and better. The match was really controlled by Kovacic and Jorginho, and of course Pulisic will get all the headlines and the match ball. So to the London Stadium then, West Ham at home to Sheffield United. Both these teams had identical records so far, 3 wins, 3 draws and 3 defeats. Sheffield United are ahead on goal difference. Team news, Snodgrass, Balbuena and Zabaleta were in for the Hammers, and Robertson was in for Mousset for the Blades. Mousset had scored the equaliser the winner against Arsenal on Monday, so it was a surprise to see him back on the bench. Early action then, Roberto still deputising for Fabianski, saved from 3 yards from a clip by McGoldrick, and Blades had another half chance that was blocked a little later. Then we now got to minute 46, so clearly not a lot of action in this match so far. But anyway, a sharp counter-attack by West Ham. The ball got to Yarmolenko, and he put Snodgrass through on the left. He ran into the box, and his shot went neatly in the corner past Henderson. And so Hammers had gone in 1-0 at the break. Into the second half then, and Roberto tested early on by Baldrick, And then on 57 minutes, a breakaway by West Ham, but Henderson failed to beat Henderson, and the ball was cleared to safety. And then Baldrick was again in with a chance to level things, but he shanked his shot and it went well wide. Musek came on, and he was the guy that made the difference, because on 69 minutes he equalised after a cross wasn't cleared, and on the edge of the box he connected and it rolled wide of Roberto. So it was 1-1. After that, Creswell had a late effort that was blocked by the keeper. On 80 minutes, across from the right, and Snodgrass, arriving really late at the back post, managed to clip that post. Stoppage time, Yarorenko had a strike inches wide, but that was it. Full time then, West Ham 1, Sheffield United 1. So, to Vicarage Road. The bottom club Watford faced Bournemouth. Both these sides desperate for a bit of form. Watford now winning 10 games, and Bournemouth coming off that absolutely dreadful goalless draw at home to Norwich last weekend. Delafeu was in for Welbeck for the Hornets, and King was up front with Callum Wilson for the Cherries. Well, I'm sorry to have to say it was a bit of a dreadful match all in all. So to the few highlights, Cook hit the bar for the Cherries from a Fraser corner in the first half. It was the first chance really, and then Billing tested Foster from distance. Up the other end, Delafeu, he brought down Lerma, but from the free kick, nothing really happened for the Cherries. Rico's shot was deflected over. And what else happened? From 30 yards, another shot from Rico, but Foster, performing heroics, denied them anything. And that was about it really for the first half. Into the second half, and a clear-cut chance for Watford. Delafeu trickery created some space, but his shot went over after it hit the keeper, who was tall and strong. Hughes had an effort which Ramsdale pushed wide. Conditions were very wet, looked pretty chilly. There was a late free kick to the Hornets. Harry Wilson, their specialist, his effort went a few inches wide, and that was about it. Honours even, a goalless draw. So final score at Vicarage Grove: Watford 0, Bournemouth 0.